Joining me right now in this Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is Florida Congressman Byron Donalds. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Good morning, Maria. Good to be back with you.
How important are the corruption issues that we talk about? Look, I understand the issues in terms of pocketbook issues. People understand the difference in the economy under President Trump versus all of this inflation and spending that we're talking about. But what about corruption? Your investigation and your colleagues in the Oversight Committee exposing the money that the Biden family has taken in. Is this a factor in Iowa?
Oh, I definitely think it is. And I think it's a factor in all 50 states because the American people are now seeing the level of corruption going with the Biden family. They see Hunter Biden just ignoring a congressional subpoena, something no American citizen would ever be able to get away with. Hunter Biden not only ignores the subpoena, he comes into open hearing and flaunts members of the Oversight Committee, flaunts members of Congress with his arrogance. I think this is disgusting what's occurred here. And so, in my view, next week, the House of Representatives is going to hold him in contempt of Congress. When that occurs, then the big question is going to be for Merrick Garland and Maine Justice. Are you going to prosecute the president's son for being in violation of a congressional subpoena and holding him in contempt? He's not an administrative employee. He's never worked for the federal government. The choice in prosecution is clear. This sets up a terrible double standard for the Democrats, but it's one of their own making because they have been persecuting President Trump, using the legal system against their political opponent. Meanwhile, the level of corruption in the Biden family has been covered up by the same Department of Justice.
Which is why you are also looking at the weaponization of this government and trying to take that down.
You said it at the open, you and Jamie Dimon, Maria. Food prices massively up. Energy prices massively up. Rent massively up. And you can't blame that on Republicans. You can't blame it on Donald Trump. All this stuff happened the second Joe Biden took over as president of the United States. All of it. The southern border problem, which is much bigger than just counties on the southern border of Texas and Arizona. It's a major problem in Chicago, a major problem in New York, and other our big cities. All that because of Joe Biden. The guy that's in her party, that's the head of our government, sucks. He's terrible at the job. So all her laments about people not wanting to show up, why would they show up for a guy who has raised their prices, who has had their kids removed from school longer than they should have been during COVID-19. Now the kids are being removed from school because migrants have nowhere to go because he's brought too many migrants into the United States with his terrible policy. And oh, by the way, the world is burning. We're on the verge of multiple conflicts, involved in multiple conflicts across the globe. Under Joe Biden's presidency, we have lost 4 embassies, something that's never happened in American history. And oh, by the way, the Secretary of Defense, he was in the hospital and nobody knew about it. Michelle Obama should be concerned with Joe Biden, not the voters of America.
I mean, obviously, they weren't having any meetings on the 131 attacks our troops in the Middle East have had. If they were having meetings, they would have noticed that their defense secretary wasn't in the meeting. But real quick on this agreement on a new stopgap spending bill, are you going to agree to a continuing resolution to keep this government open? And what does that mean for the wide open border?
No, I'm not in agreement with this spending bill. I'm not even in agreement on the continuing resolution. We have a massive problem at our southern border. It must be done now. It must be fixed now. And if you give the Democrats money to fund the government, they will continue to ignore the problem. Maria, when Joe Biden first came into office, encounters at the southern border were a little over 92,000 encounters. Last month, it was well over 330,000 encounters. And the deal that came out of the Senate was for 150,000 encounters a month. That's a bad deal. The Democrats are not serious on this. So in my view, secure the border. If the border is not secured, this government does not deserve to be funded. We will fund the Department of Defense. We'll pay our troops. We'll take care of our veterans and VA. We'll even make sure border agents are paid to have some semblance of security. But the rest of this government doesn't deserve money if our border continues to be open the way that it is.
All right. We'll leave it there. Good to see you, sir. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, Congressman Byron Donalds this morning in Florida.